Alright, I think we are good to go for the most part.
Are we?
Yeah, we should be good to go for the most part, and we'll be getting started here. So, let me do this too, because I gotta see my notes. But yeah, a little bit on the fly, but hey, sometimes, you know, you gotta do it on the fly. A little bit here and there, but... Yeah, but hello everybody, and welcome to episode 68 of Shoot the Breeze. A chill interview, a chill time around for you and me. I'm your host, HeavyDivider, and alongside me here is, well, for the most part, I haven't got a chance to know you as a human being, but I will say for the most part, you are quite on the fly too when it comes to, like, thinking fast on your feet, as well as basically being a great interviewer on hand here and there. So it's pretty much going to be a nice time to be able to talk to you on hand. So, but my guest for tonight here is the host of Behind the Streams, as well as pretty much like a veteran podcaster, if you will. So definitely no more knowledge than me.
You make me sound so old on podcasting now.
I mean, hey, you've been around, you've been doing a longer than me, so hey, as far as like interviews and everything. So,
Yeah.
But my guest for tonight here is Tentastash. So welcome on in, Tentastash.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no.
I appreciate the message and everything to have me come in.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem on hand. I was looking forward to be able to interview on hand just for be able to take some of your wisdom in. So, let me go ahead and get started with the first following question. How the hell did we meet?
Oh, let's see here. I think we met. I originally interviewed Arnie back in 2018, 2017-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then I joined him on a world and met you through him. And that's how I met you. I don't remember the exact world, but I do remember it was through Arnie after doing his interview. And since then you've been on my friends list, and I mean, we don't hang out as often. I've kind of not been on VR chat in the past few years just because I don't know. I haven't really done much in the way of VR.
No, I feel you. I feel you on hand, especially with IRL
That's
work
how
and
we
everything
met.
else. So,
What?
but yeah.
Kinda.
Kind of, sort of here, but I will let you know too. How we met too for that world. It was actually the black cat that we met on hand. It was interesting because I got a chance to basically see you.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like the black cat because we were hanging out there, and I don't remember the context on hand, but all I know for the most part, you were there to say hello, see how's it going here and there, and believe it or not, through you, I got a chance to meet Frickson. And I also got a chance to basically be able to hang out and be close friends with Omega. So,
Yeah, which two of the greatest people like I've ever had chance to ever meet. Frickson, I haven't messaged him in a while, but I still think that man is. Anytime I message him, it's always just good times with him. Omega, I haven't really messaged him in a while since he left the podcast group. He went his own way. Because of school, but he's also a great guy.
Yeah, he's a tremendous individual. Really chill, funny in his own way, and really just a nice friend to be around here and there. Just to be able to hang out with him. Yeah, great personality too. Great personality. So,
yeah.
My second question I was going to ask you is your VR chat origins. What got you into this game in general?
Oh my god. Oh, let's go back to when VR chat was still a baby. So. What was it? I think chat released in 2017. That's when we had all the streamers and stuff making their content, the big ones that were back in that time. Let's see here. Who did we have? We had Forcible and all of them doing their content and everything. And Foxy, the YouTuber, was making content. And I was, at the time, I didn't have a gaming PC. And I was just watching it on YouTube. And then eventually I got a PC. And got Discord, joined Foxy Discord, and started just meeting people in there. And then I finally got into VR chat because I downloaded it after watching a few of his videos, and I was like, that looks like a nice place to meet people and see things. So I ended up downloading VR chat. I was desktop for I want to say 2 months, and then I went and spent like $200 to get the Windows Mixed Reality. Worst headset ever made. And that's pretty much how I started VR chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, at that time or so, like Windows Mixed Reality was kind of like the starter headset if you couldn't like get an Oculus Rift at that time. And nowadays or so,
we didn't have the Quest or anything that kids have now.
No, definitely not. Well, nowadays it's just like if you're going for like a headset that you can at least work with, especially just to hook up to your desktop or anything, you got to get a Quest. Because anything past that vibe-wise is like very expensive now, especially now that they're basically shilling out the indexes now, which is like $1,000. So,
which I love that very much. I will never trade wiggling my fingers in video games in real life for anything.
Yeah, especially if you're like very expressive on hand, you need to use your fingers for like a little bit of everything in general. So there's that.
True.
There's that on hand.
True.
But let me ask about your hobbies on hand besides this game. Now, I haven't got a chance to really know your hobbies on hand. I had a look at your Twitch to know you played Arma 3 as well as like Star Citizens on hand. But past this game in general, what do you play in your free time or so if you didn't get on VRC?
So, since I haven't been on VRC, let's see here. I've been picking up a lot of Star Citizen, just because I have a flight state and everything now, so I've been getting into more flight games. I just recently started playing. This morning, I was playing Forza 5. I'm probably going to play it later when this interview's done, just because I enjoy racing games, and it just came out, so I'm trying to get the grind on that. I play a lot of RPG, FPSs, and things like that. Not a whole bunch of like a lot of. I joined a small gaming community that we've been just kind of doing whatever pops up in our games, and we just play together. Stellaris has been a big one for us right now. We all get together and play Stellaris for like an hour or two.
I got you.
But besides gaming, I've been doing Python coding too in my free time.
All right. I've tried a little bit of Python coding. Unfortunately, it goes over my head because when it comes to coding, it's just like you gotta really kind of like you test and break it, but at the same time, it's almost very stressful too. Just to be like, what is it? That one bracket.
So what I've done is what I originally did was started on YouTube, and if you ever want to learn anything, stay away from YouTube. Just like you watch a video, see if you're interested in it, which I was when I watched the Python intro video. But the guy like barely taught me anything and started throwing huge problems at me that I didn't understand. Then I went and looked at his description, and he recommended a book, and I looked at the book, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna get this book, and I've been nonstop on this book for the past 2 weeks, and it's just taught me so much more than anything else. So I would recommend, if they have a book in the description, look at the book, not them.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, honey. Especially, you know, when you want to basically learn on your own accord and at your own pace better than what somebody else is trying to teach you. Especially if they're trying to do, like, the instructor mode on hand to, like, in their own way mentor you, even though it may be a little bit over the top. So, there's always that.
Some of them try to cram it within, like, an hour of a video, and it doesn't work. You can't teach someone like 6 months of coding school in an hour and expect them to take off with it. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it doesn't work that way because
I recommend books.
Give you time to be able to absorb that into, because sometimes people can't pick things up on the fly that quick, especially in workplaces that requires that amount of coding knowledge on hand too, or just like if you're like brand new just trying to get into something, requires a little bit of time. So, but so let me ask you this: what was the game that basically got you into like video gaming in general, or so? Like, what was your introduction to it?
Oh man, let's go back to wee little me. All right, back when the original Nintendo got released, 2D Mario, when the first Mario came out on console. That's what I remember my oldest childhood memory playing. What got me on to, like, I played that, I had Sega, I had the original Game Boy and the original Game Boy Color, not the actual screen in color, the case was in color, and that's why they called it the colored version.
Okay.
So that was my original gaming as a child. I didn't get a PC till, I want to say, 2014? I didn't get my first, I got my first PC, yeah.
I got you.
So I'm behind all of the people your age on PC gaming. I'm behind on that, so.
No, I got you. I mean, I mean, to be fair, just on your side or so, I grew up on like consoles, and I didn't get my own PC gaming till like 2015 or so, because I was just doing like console for the most. Yeah, I was doing consoles on hand. I never knew the idea of like gaming on PCs because I never had the access to it. So, but
yeah, and then like seeing people mod Fallout or modding Fallout and things like that, I was like, I need a gaming PC because I want to do that.
just do crazy shenanigans you could just work with just for your own amusement. Like, like I've seen people with Skyrim that basically just do like nutty stuff on hand that shouldn't exist, but lo and behold, it does.
I think the video that made me really interested in it was seeing Hulk Hogan as a Deathclaw in Fallout.
Oh,
Coming up to you and being like, snap into a Slim Jim.
that was Randy Savage. That was Monster Man Randy Savage.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're all good. You're all good. Then again, it's more frightening than anything else.
There and message me later.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say
somebody's gonna message me later and be like, "How did you not know?"
It is what it is. Be honest with you, it would be a lot more frightening as a Deathclaw than as a dragon like Skyrim. Just saying, just for what it is. So, but let's go ahead and get to some of the interesting topics I was gonna ask you about. Now, let's talk about the VR chat scene. Now, in this current present, okay. I know you don't play enough VR chat here and there, but I will say in this current present and some of your knowledge on hand at this particular time with VRC, what is your current thought and opinion about it?
Okay, so you had me reinstall VR chat literally this morning. I uninstalled it like 2 weeks ago because I didn't play it for like a month. But when I got back, when I was on at that previous time, I did not enjoy. Like, I go to public worlds. A lot of streamers don't go into public worlds. A lot of content creators stay out of them because they don't like being recognized and stuff like that. But I don't feel like I'm big enough anymore, like I used to be recognized in VR chat. So I go into public worlds and not care. But I had my one time rejoining VR chat, I had a Quest user come up to me. And it was a whole room of Quest users, and he goes, "Oh, you're a PC user?" And all of them said I was disgusting that I was a PC user. And I was like, "Yep, I hate this game now, and I don't want to be on it."
No, I understand.
Like, it's Quest users thinking they're over PC users because they're the mass majority. What they don't realize is half the content in this game was made by somebody that had a PC. Your little 12-year-old brain can't compute that the world we're currently sitting in was made on a computer, not on a Quest. So, I don't know.
No, I got you. Especially when it gets to that point where it becomes this weird brand war between those who were on PC and those who are on Oculus Quest, and it just kind of like diverges into almost like this weird gang-like mentality, even though it's kind of stupid on a game like this. Should even be able to have it. So
it should be more like, this is supposed to be a social platform for you to meet people in an environment where you can be social with random strangers, not this is superior than that or this and that. Like, you have a custom-made avatar. I pulled mine off of a website and just said, you know what, done, and threw it on here, and this is what I use now because the other one I've made myself was kind of janky. But like back in our day when we first started, that was the big difference, having a custom made or someone that used one that just pulled off a wall. So it's weird seeing everything fluctuate from who has a better model to who has the wireless headset and who doesn't.
Yeah, and what makes it even weirder is the fact that at that time or so too, like back then or so, the biggest thing was like particle effects. Like, just to be able to see somebody like do some crazy stuff like late 2017 and 2018, and then just like people be able to upload their own different avatars on him. Like, to be honest with you, at that time or so, almost everybody was like an anime character or so, and I just looked at it like, I need to be something that's not something I associate with. And I was a Marvel fan, so I thought, okay, let me just go to like DeviantArt and just see if I can find any models I can work with. And the easiest one I could find that was under the 20k polygon limit or so. Actually, back then it was like 10k polygon limit or so. It was like an Iron Man avatar, no accessories or anything. And I just roamed around like that on hand. Simple things on hand for the most part, but it didn't get too complicated as time went by. Well, it got a little bit complicated as time went by because it was more like expanding out in the universe a little bit with this game.
Yeah, because like people being able to draw with their finger was a big thing that people were all like, "Oh wow, that's awesome." and now people are having like full-on Halo videos going on in the background. It's like, okay, that's new. What's next?
Yeah. What's next on that proverbial list, especially for where it can go anyways? The only thing that's going right now with VRC is just trends people have here and there that's been currently going on, which, again, when it comes to trends, you know, they go up and down pretty much. They don't last forever.
Mm-hmm.
They never do. So, but let me ask you about your content creation experience on hand. Now, what is it like being a content creator from your side on, you know, your full experience from...
Twitch is a pain in the butt. Don't do it unless you have another platform you can start on. For anyone that was trying to get into streaming, do a different platform with Twitch. Do YouTube, do something. Like, I did podcasting and I posted on a different platform. I think at the time when it was going off and VR chat was just starting, I had 15,000 listeners at the highest point of the podcast. And then my Twitch blew up to, like, I had 13 people, 14, 20 going up, and then I stopped because I have a kid now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to balance content creation and a kid and stuff like that. And he's only at school for like 5 hours a day, so it's not really enough time to throw something spectacular together.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so content creation is kind of hard at this time. But when you're starting out, do a separate platform, then move to a streaming platform. And I wouldn't even say go to Twitch, because Twitch is having all these issues now. I think they had a few lawsuits, and then their source code got leaked, and now everybody's passwords are all compromised.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
A little bit in column A and a little bit of column B here and there. And it doesn't help, too, that with how they solve certain problems on hand, it's more along the lines of, like, throwing something against the wall and hoping it sticks just for it. They've done that in the past.
Yeah. Like, so they've taken a rule book, threw it an issue, and said, hopefully one of these will solve the problem. And it doesn't. If you want to get started on something, like, you've been on Twitch for years, so you have a built-in thing going on here. But if you want to get started on a platform, I recommend YouTube. YouTube's going up, which I think everyone will start moving to once Twitch starts dying off. Everybody go to YouTube, because even though YouTube's there for videos, it still saves your stream, and it's still there in people's searches when they look up something. So
yeah,
I think that will be something in the future.
Smartly on hand for the most part. I have been uploading like these interviews. Like it takes time, but I've been uploading these interviews to YouTube so that way people can view them on hand and just be able to like go check this individual out, because I always make sure to leave people's links in the descriptions. That way they can go give them a follow and everything else on hand, because to me, they've already did me a service just basically taking some time for me to talk to them on hand. So I want to make sure they get elevated as time goes by. No matter how long the search will be for them. Yeah. It'll take time for me to get it all the way up there, because I'm like at episode 14 already on YouTube. I just got to get it all the way up to like where we are now, 68. So I got a ways to go. I should have started at the start, but I was worried about quality more than anything else.
Well, so what you need to say, when you're starting, don't worry about quality. When you're starting out, quality is not the thing you need to worry about. It needs to be it being there. Quality comes over time, because you start learning as you go, and it helps because people can watch you develop that way, instead of you just throwing up like a 4K ultra edited logo everywhere stuff. It shows development, not just boom, there I am.
Yep.
So
yeah, it takes time. That's the key thing. It takes time more than anything else. So the question I was going to ask you, which I title as the art of the interview on hand. Now, I've interviewed two people who were also interviewers on hand, one of them being Hawks is Rippin', the other one being Goddess Cresselia, who have interviewed people in the past in their own style on hand. But I want to ask your style on hand. How do you usually interview people on hand? What is your approach to talking to somebody for your interviews on your podcasts?
So as you would know from the past, I had some big names pop on my podcast. I had Forcible, Jakey, Junkrat, Arnie, all of Kinetic. I don't even know if they're still a thing. I've had all of them. I had some big YouTubers. I've had some streamers. I had Leroy the Lance Corporal show up, who gets like 100+ views on Twitch and partnered and everything. I basically just shot them a message. Like, literally said, hey, I do a podcast. I interview streamers. Would you be interested?
Hmm.
And that's literally how I would send them. And the worst thing they can do is say no.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how I would approach it. And then whenever I get an answer, if it was yes, it'd be like, okay, well, what time's free for you and what time's good for you? And I'll work my schedule around that. And we'd sit there and schedule it and stuff. And that's pretty much what I did. I'd have them sit in a call. We'd sit and talk for an hour, 30 minutes, whatever they could do. And then that'd be it.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you on hand. And that was actually kind of the approach I had original and pretty much all the way through, where I would reach out to somebody, see if they'd be interested on like this time or so, and if they're need me to change it up on hand, because I try to be flexible, where depending on the time or day, I can work with it on hand. And usually it's one of those things where the biggest fear you have to get over is just trying to reach out to somebody, especially if it's somebody you don't know too well, but you want to get to know somebody well, and just like be able to ask them a question on hand. Because again, the worst thing that can happen is no on hand, which is what it is, but it's just one of those things where trying to get over the hump to try to ask somebody that you want to get a chance to know is like the biggest thing, especially for like an interviewer on hand, because you got to put that effort in to do this.
Someone that knows how to do the job, you need to be like, hey, do you want to do this? This is what I have. Not because like they have the experience, they know what it's like being there, and they want to see the effort that you put toward them you would do for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just send somebody that's done this job a, hey, you want to do podcast? Because then they're gonna be like, okay, what about?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And that's usually why I make sure to send my questions out, so that way people can review them. If there's anything that they don't want to talk about, that's perfectly fine. I can change it up on hand, or basically ask for their like opinion on what would they want to talk about, or so. You know, what catches their eye. So that's usually the key aspect on hand for it. So let me ask you this: what is the motivation that kind of keeps you going when it comes to like what you enjoy the most doing, being like making content, podcasting, coding? What motivates you to keep going for what you enjoy to do?
The people. It's the people that are there with me, and it's really the friends I make, and the people I meet. Like, I met you, I met so many amazing people in VR chat that I had on I still have some of them on my friends list. People through Discord I've met, and just knowing that I can message some of them and have a conversation with them. Some of the people I interviewed, I can still message and still have a conversation with them. Like, it's back that day, and they have no problem with it. Hawks, I don't know if he's doing any content creation anymore. I'm pretty sure I can message him and talk to him like it was just yesterday. So
yeah,
but people are definitely what motivate me, because I enjoy meeting people more than anything. If I meet new people and I feel comfortable there, I will stay around for a long time.
No, I feel you. I feel you on hand. And it's always just nice to be able to take in, you know, how somebody, you know, what their humble beginnings are, and just follow their life story on what got them to where they got to go on hand. And for the most part, it's like, if you think about it, interviewers are like narrators on hand. They're able to basically propose a question and be able to take in the input of how this person has described their life through the time of when they start to where they began here and there, and just be able to, you know, learn and appreciate how they're able to take a curveball that life will throw at them and be able to, you know, even if they strike out, even if they miss, be able to like hit it back to wherever direction it goes for them. So it's always nice to take that in and be able to share that to the entire world. That way that people know these are human beings too. So these are human beings with different things.
It
so
gives people a more personal perspective on the person that you're talking to, is how it is.
Yeah, with how it is on hand here. So I also have a few more different topics on hand, but one of these I'm pretty sure you might have to compare and contrast here. That being the VR chat current present. Now, originally we were talking about this current time of what VR chat is right now, but I want to be able to take this and compare it to when you first started in the past on hand. And what would be some of the things you have are glad that they have been changed over the course of time, be it security, be it any issues that VRChat has addressed on hand, that they have kind of fixed and made things a little bit better, to some of the things you wish they didn't change at all. So
I miss the old hub. Bring back old hub. # We should make that a trend on Twitter. Dang. Bring back old hub.
Bring back old hub.
And then so I miss the old hub. That was my biggest things, because everybody, like, you just load up and everyone was there. Not this huge little portal thing that they have now. And like people not knowing how to do something, and then you have all these people helping you. That's what I miss. That the security thing, I don't know what they've done recently, but I remember it being a joke.
Yeah.
For everyone in the community, always. Every time they said, "Hey, we're doing an update stream," the whole chat would be, "Fix your game." And so I don't know how that is now. The security-wise, I mean, it kind of helps, but I'm pretty sure I could find somebody that can still crash me or you out of this game with something or another. Because even though they think they may have gotten rid of crashing issues, I'm pretty sure there's still some there. So security might still be somewhat of a joke. I remember last time people were able to see your IP address and stuff. I don't know if it's still an issue.
I don't think it is an issue.
It's still a thing.
I don't think it is too big of an issue, but it might be depending on what public lobby you get into on hand. As for like back then when like crashers were just doing what they were doing for the most part, some of that has been taken away from on hand. And like literally you couldn't exploit yourself through Unity into VRC like you did back in the past now, because they kind of patched it up a little bit and also implied like some sort of a different because back then or so, like, you had been able to place a tree down out of nowhere or so on hand.
Yeah.
They were able to kind of like fix that.
Create anything.
Yeah, create anything from the Unity engine all the way over here, because this is where it was based on back then. But as it began to like update itself and they changed up a little bit of the security on hand for the most part, it has kind of like fixed it to where it's almost no problem whatsoever. I feel like the only time they would have issues on hand is when maybe some of the servers will be a little bit wonky at times, or just kind of like have like a little bit of down periods when you least expect it. So,
yeah.
But that's the only thing I've kind of noticed on my side on hand. It might have not changed. It may have changed over the course of it. There may be some small flickers of it when depending on what area in the public lobbies of VRC you go to. But past that, it's not too big of a epidemic as it was back then when it was beginning to widespread or so.
Yeah. When it started out, you'd get a server, like, I think they had servers in one part of the US and then one part of the UK, and that was it. And your ping would skyrocket. Actually, I don't even know. Can I still see my ping on this?
Yes, you can. Basically, you got to go to the, I think it's the, it's the cog.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, go to the cog on hand.
I still have horrible ping. To these servers, so that was the biggest complaint. I remember people saying get more servers and up your security. So I'm happy to see that they've kind of done more, but at this current state, I still don't feel comfortable going really just wandering around without a VPN on.
No, that's fair.
Public world.
That's perfectly fair. I will say too, is there anything you're looking forward towards on your side that you're going to be doing for the most part? I know VRC is going to be like in the back of your mind on hand here, because you're probably going to go out without it to like bigger and different heights. But anything you got in the future you're going to work with?
I really need to. I'm trying to get into coding. I want to do Python and a few other coding languages. I think once I get Python done, I might jump into C++ and start working on the Unreal Engine and stuff like that. But that's kind of an if right now.
Okay.
I have a buddy that's helping me try to get a job that can work at home, working for 2K Games, because they're asking for game testers right now, and he's helping me push for that. And then hopefully make some content with just whatever I can. I want to get back into content creation, but it's difficult having a kid and trying to learn something, and then also trying to keep a social life together, because I want to try to have, like, the group that I play games with now. I enjoy every single person in there, and they're all amazing people. They're currently coming up with a new name because it split from a different group. So whenever they find that out, Yeah, but I enjoy hanging out with them. They're awesome people. They're caring, and they always want to play games. Every time I hop in there, it's always like, hey, let's do this. But yeah, I think I want to try to get into creating content again, and I might have them kind of incorporated into that. So
Okay.
we'll just see what happens. Next year, I plan on streaming again, so we'll see what.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. As long as you got a plan for what you want to do on hand here and there, you know, it'll get to there when it gets there. Just like, you know, one step at a time. One step at a time at your own pace. So, sorry. Basically, I have a curveball question to throw to you, and the curveball question to this is the fact that everybody's got a different answer to this, but it's a certain topic that everybody can relate to. So, let's talk about anime. Let's talk about anime really quickly.
Okay.
So, there's a 3-part question to this, but I'll start with the first one being, when I say the word anime, what's the first anime series that comes to your mind when you think of it?
Okay. Let's push this off to the side real quick. Kind of tuck it right there.
Gotcha.
I just got a subscription to Funimation in September. So I was not really big into anime until recently.
Okay.
The first ever anime I ever watched was with a roommate back in 2014 on Netflix. We watched the first season of Sword Art Online, and that was my first introduction to anime.
Okay.
So whenever someone says anime, that's the first thing that pops in my mind, and I'm like, ooh, fantasy, what's next?
No, I got you. At best, I can always flip it over to, like, TV shows or such that you would normally watch when you get time or so, like, for yourself, if need be, if that would be comfortable for you.
See, I watch Rick and Morty. I've been watching Ted Lasso, which, if you have not seen Ted Lasso,
I've heard of it, but I don't
to
watch it. So,
it's good. It's very emotional.
Mm.
It made me cry as a man. It made me cry, and it takes a lot to make me cry.
No, I got you. So to kind of continue, even if we need to take anime and like put it aside, we can basically bring in like TV shows and movies for you, if that would work for you. And I was gonna say
it's whatever.
It's whatever. Okay. So if you had a top 3 or top 5 like TV shows or movies that you appreciate and enjoy for the most part, what would that be?
Okay. So I'm gonna do anime and stuff.
Make sure.
Because like I watch like there's some animes that I've watched that I'm like, that's an amazing art style, which I think recently like I've been watching My Hero Academia. Amazing art style, love it. That's really my main thing. Everybody's like, oh, you watch anime because of this and this. I'm like, no, I actually enjoy the art. I don't. The stories, yes, it's thrilling, but the art styles what really catches me. So there's My Hero Academia, is a good one. Movie-wise, that I've been watching something that I cannot stop watching. Braveheart. That is my favorite movie of all times. Don't care what you say. If you tell me any other movie's better than Braveheart, I'm gonna fight you because you can't beat that. And Tombstone can't beat Tombstone either.
No, I get you. That's fair. Those are classics. Very good classics on hand. But
so I will watch those religiously.
I got you. And like I said, they're really classics on hand for the most part. Funny enough, especially if you ever want to learn about history on hand, just basically show somebody Braveheart so that way they can know a little bit about what. Because I've had that happen in history class, where it'd be like, all right, here's how we're going to learn about, just this certain kind of history on hand. We're going to watch Braveheart. Like, okay, cool, that works. Works on hand. So my third question to that topic is, what is the TV show or movie that hits you close to home? Like when you watch it emotionally, you feel it. Like you feel like it's personally for you or so on hand.
So one of the biggest things that that affect me is movies where the best friend dies. Because I've had a lot of good friends going through high school die of either suicide, drug overdose, or something. Like my high school, before my senior year, I think I've had 16 friends commit suicide.
I see.
So every time I see something like that, show like best friend dies or something, I start tearing up. The biggest one that made me cry, and it's a kids movie, and people think it's weird, but The Bridge to Terabithia. Every time I watch that, I bawl my eyes out. Every time.
No, I understand.
If you haven't seen, yeah. So it's one movie that connects with me emotionally.
No, I feel you. Like, I understand, like, when it comes to, like, kids' movies on hand, some people may look at it weirdly, but there are certain things that kind of stick with you on hand. Like, you know Treasure Planet, right? Everybody feels that. Everybody feels that on an emotional scale, like, with what the protagonist is like, Jim, and all. So, but,
Yeah.
this is getting me down to my last question, and what I'm going to do is... You're all good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get up here and just... move this camera closer to you really quickly, so that way people, so that way you could be center stage, not me being on the table here, but basically be center stage for this on hand. And my question for you is, what are your goals? And let me make sure that mic's there, overlay mic. What are your goals and your dreams? And at best, what is the best advice you could ever give to anybody? I'm going to let you have center stage for this.
Okay. So my goal right now is to learn coding and hopefully get a job doing that, because nobody can beat the pay for coding that so far I've seen. My dream is hopefully to get back into doing something with a lot of people. Like, I miss having large groups of people to do things with. I have that Discord of people that I game with, and they're all amazing people, and I enjoy talking with them. I enjoy gaming with them, and I'm hoping that the group expands. That's really what I'm looking forward to in the future. So meeting people is my biggest dream and hope in the future, and I always love meeting people. And your final one is advice that I would give somebody. It is always plan for the best, but expect the worst. Because you can have the hopes to have the best and wonderful thing, but always keep your mind on it. What if? Because the what if will never let you down if you have that in your head.
No, that's good advice.
So
good advice on hand, and respectful goals and dreams on hand for the most part. So very respectful on hand here. And I'm going to bring this over here because before we call it on hand here and there, I was going to ask anybody in chat, does anybody have any questions for Tentastash on hand? If you would like to ask him any questions. And while chat's coming up with questions on hand here, I will ask you this. The name Tentastash, where did that originate from?
I cannot tell you because it's not Twitch appropriate.
Fair enough. That is fair enough. We'll count as classified, so that's perfectly fine on hand.
It involves tentacle, adult content, and other things.
That's fine.
Brief as it's gonna
That
go.
is perfectly fine as it is. So, I will say too on hand. Like I said, I'm waiting for a little bit, but I will say this: what got you started? The idea of basically doing podcasts and interviewing. What was the fire that basically be like, you know what, I want to try to do this?
To be completely honest, I was bored.
You was bored?
I had nothing better to do. Yeah, nothing better to do. I was listening to a podcast about Warhammer 40k because it was one of the things I enjoyed at the time. I still enjoy it. I still want to get back into it. But I was listening to the podcast and I immediately thought, you know, this would be fun to do. And that I sent Foxy at the time, the big YouTuber, a message saying, hey, I'd like to do this. And he said, sure. And we kind of did one thing and another, and I started doing podcasting, and it just took off from there.
Well, there you go. There you go on hand. Usually it just takes like a simple question to be able to get a certain thing started on hand, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Really helps on hand for the most part. Oh, get a question here from Cool18. Basically saying pretty much a regular question they usually ask for some of the people on hand, but I will say, their question is there any game out there that you would give the title of the best game in the world to, and why?
Oh, man. Best game in the world. That is putting such a strong thing on video games. I would honestly have to say the best game would have to be Minecraft, because it's moddable It adds all the different content in the world that people could want. It's still being developed today after all these years and still having new content coming out. And it's just endless exploration. Every time you boot up a new world, it's something new to go look at, something new to see, or just explore. And that's one thing I love about games is the open world exploration. So Minecraft would have to be my number one game of any time.
No.
And that may be stupid to some people, but it's my thing.
Yeah, I know.
I like exploration.
Yeah, it's fair. It's perfectly fair on hand just because, you know, for all the things that you can do with it. And that's what makes it very appropriate. So, very appropriate on hand. I will say, I can't see any more questions on hand, but I do have one more thing that I was going to ask you. Now, with behind the streams and everything, you're pretty much going to be doing this like as a single podcaster for the most part for what you have in the future with it, or is it just going to be one of those things where it gets to it when it gets to it on hand, what you have planned?
So what I'm thinking, like, what I want to do is get something set up. It's probably going to be me, and then just people coming in and out that I know, just shooting the breeze. It's not going to be anything like major topic wise. I don't want it to be focused on anything. I just want it to be like, hey, this is what we did, this is what we're doing, this is what's going on, this is this person, and I know this person and this person, and just have like kind of a chill chat kind of thing.
Kind of a chill thing.
This, but I don't think I want to go back to doing the questions, because for me it wasn't fun doing the questions. It was more fun after the questions when it was just kind of the chatting about whatever in the world.
I got you. You kind of felt restricted with the questions on hand for the most part, so you just kind of like want to be a little bit free flow for the most part. That way you don't feel like, you know, anything in the world has to come back to it.
To a format. Yeah.
Well, I will say for when the time comes on hand for the most part, I will want to wish you very well to get that off the ground and just be able to have a nice fun time with it on hand. Because knowing you, especially even if I haven't got a chance to know you, I can feel on hand that you do enjoy what you do for the most part. Like, no matter how it goes along here, you just enjoy it where it goes. That's the thing. So.
If you can't enjoy what you do, then why do it?
Fair enough. Fair point.
That's kind of.
Very fair point on hand. So, I don't see any more questions on hand, so I will say this for right now. And that will be episode 68 of Shoot the Breeze.